be giving us a lecture on sources and strategies to manage stress from the student's perspective. She has done her MA in psychology from Bhopal University, Madhya Pradesh, and her PhD in humanities and social sciences from IIT Bombay. Her research interest lies in behavioral science, human resource management, organizational behavior, and she has a number of publications in many national and international journals, as well as many book chapters and other publications. We have this renowned person today to enlighten us on how to manage stress, since we are mostly dealing with the student community who often face stress in their student life. She will enlighten us on how they can manage stress and what kind of stress they feel, and how as we as teachers can help them out. We welcome Ma'am Shyamalee Sinha to our session today, and I would now like to hand over this platform to Shyamalee Ma'am to continue the session. Ma'am, please take over the session.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for a brief and good introduction. Good morning, all the participants and my friends. I'm here, as ma'am said, to take this session. Though I would be focusing on the students' point of view, from the students' perspectives, yet students are human beings. So
excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, yeah. Just to disturb you, ma'am, we cannot see you actually. Can you put on your video and your presentation, ma'am? You're not visible.
1 minute, ma'am.
Sorry to disturb you, ma'am. You can continue.
Okay. Now, can you see me, ma'am?
Yes, your presentation is on.
Presentation is up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, as I was saying, that though I'll be dealing with the students, talking about stress management from the students' perspectives. But then we should not forget that students are also human beings. So, I would like to first give the introduction regarding the general sources, general way of thinking, looking, etc., and for human beings. And accordingly, then I'll go to the specifications for the students, right? So I would like to start today's session with the saying given by two stalwarts. See, self is important. First is talk to yourself at least once in a day. Otherwise, you will miss a meeting with an excellent person in this world. That is given by Swami Vivekananda. Second is probably the extension, or you can say scientific explanation. It says, be mindful of your self-talk. It's a conversation with the universe. Now, this is from David James Lee, and you see that is the scientific point. He has explained it from the scientific point of view. So both philosophy and science go hand in hand, right? So what he means to say is any human being or any organism, living being, we start our life right from the atom, scientifically speaking. Atom, first there is atom, then atom again makes molecules. Molecules makes the cells. Cells makes the tissues, and due to tissues, the organs are formed. Organs function together, so that and that becomes the organ systems. And when the organs functions together, it functions in an organization or organism that is within the organism, and these organs of our body interact with one another, and the organism functions. When the organism functions, we associate ourselves, or the organism associates oneself with the environment or the atmosphere, and atmosphere then reacts to earth. Earth gets linked with the celestial body, and the celestial body's links gets linked to the infinity. That is the entire cosmos as a whole. So what I would like to say is, we as individuals, we are a part of the entire universe, and all the time we are trying to relate ourselves with the universe. Now, I will not go into the depth of this. Coming to the definitions of stress, certain definitions. Stress is the physical and mental response of the body. Before I define, I would say Madam Mishra, she has taken pains in selecting her resource persons, who I find come from the various various experiences and various fields. So we have clinical psychologists, we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists, also somebody from meditation, dietitian, so on and so forth. There are a variety, it's a combination. So all these, everybody, I hope and I know, they will talk about their area in detail. So I'll just give the definition so that one can associate oneself with the whole aspect, whole paper, and go ahead, decide accordingly. Now, as I said, stress is the physical and mental response of the body. So we have to think about physical and mental aspects. Then medical explanation given by Shyamalee, that is the body's response to the environmental situation. So environment has been taken into consideration. Third is, stress is anything that changes our physical, mental, or emotional state while encountering various stimuli in our environment. As I have said earlier, that we always interact with our environment. So stress, there is a relationship, psychologically speaking, there is a relationship between stimulus, organism, and response, which is referred to as SOR relationship. That is, only when there is stimulus can it affect the organism, and only when the stimulus affects the organism, there is a response. So you see, the stimulus is the environmental stimuli, without which there cannot be any response. And again, if the organism is there, that is the individual or the any other organism having emotional states, they will experience pain, pleasure, dominance, control, all various kinds of feelings. And only when that is there, there is a response which they associate themselves with, and they try to approach it or avoid it, depending on the individual himself or herself. Now, let us see just what are various responses, behavioral responses. We have physical, racing of heart, shaky hands, legs, high blood pressure, clenching fists, headaches, tenses, muscle spasms, indigestion. Then emotional, we have anxiety, fear, irritability, impatience, depression, inability to focus, feeling overwhelmed, guilt, so on and so forth. And then we have the behavioral response, behavioral aspect, which are changes in appetite, difficulty in sleeping, forgetfulness, acting out, social withdrawal or avoidance, increased use of caffeine or other substances, loss of concentration, mood swings. Now, I'm not going to explain all these because I am sure there are other resource persons who will be explaining all these. But if anybody has any doubt or any queries, they can always question, and I'll explain it in detail if it is needed. If not, we can carry on. Now, when we talk about stress, we talk only about the negative aspects of stress. But is the stress only negative in nature? No, it's not. Stress can be positive also. If at sometimes if the stress is not there, the individual will not be able to reach the goal or will not do the work. So stress helps the individual or motivates the individual to meet their goals, right? Then second is fire alarm can cause stress that alerts the individual to avoid danger. Similarly, that means it motivates as well as it helps the individual to reach the goal. Now, the negative stress is called distress and positive stress is called eustress. So eustress, everything is positive. We have motivators, we focuses energy, short term, it is short term. Then in nature, the individual feels excited, overwhelmed, and the performance improves. Distress again, in contrast, distress or the negative stress has the following characteristics: causes anxiety or concern, can be short or long term, is perceived as outside of our coping abilities, feels unpleasant, decreases performance, can lead to mental and physical problems. And if you can see the stress performance connection, we as individuals, all of us have the optimal level of stress which we can take. Beyond that, we cannot take. There is also, it has been proved that general adaptation syndrome all individuals have. Up to a certain point, we can take up the stress, the body functions, energy is released from various parts of the body, all the organs of the body functions together and helps the individual to cope up with the stress up to a certain point. This certain point or optimal level is different for different individuals. And beyond that, if the individual tries to go, it leads to exhaustion, or the person will feel fatigued. If it increases more than that or goes beyond that, then again the individual can, depending on the degree, the individual can die also. It can lead to death also. So that does not sound very positive. It sounds negative, but there's another factor. We have to take the reality into consideration. It's real. We have to accept the reality. Now, general coping strategies of yes. This is what I was talking about. Be realistic, set limits, say no to extra responsibility or activities if feeling overwhelmed. Just to be good in the books of others, do not accept extra responsibility. Accept the responsibility which you can take it, you can do. Otherwise, it will be difficult. Again, you will reach the exhaustion stage. Second is, stop being superhero. No one is perfect. So don't expect that from yourself or others. What really needs to get done is a deadline realistic, ask for help when needed. That means, again, as I said, in order to please others or to be in the good books of others, you try to do extra work, overload yourself, and again reach the exhaustion level, which again is harmful. So learn to say no. Always, there is a certain way you can say it tactfully, you can say it smilingly, depending on the individual, depending on the relationship. Again, one should be able to say no or deny the responsibility if it is too difficult or not within the potential of the individual. Now, third is, take one thing at a time. When feeling overwhelmed by many tasks, pick up one urgent task. Complete one task before moving on to another. That means, simply it means that concentration level will change or will become weak if the individual tries to do too many work, multitasking too many work at a time. But if one work, if the concentration is only on one work, then probably effort will, it will take less effort and the performance will be better. But again, one has to think about it, about oneself by, as I said, talking to oneself. Every individual's capacity, as I said earlier, is different. Individual differences exist. So, and how do we talk to ourselves? In psychology, we say one has to introspect. So we must introspect and ourselves every day, even if it is for 2 minutes, a few minutes, or maybe more than that. Probably at the end of the day, you talk to yourself, think what all you did, with whom you interacted, and it really makes you a better person. You come to know about yourself. That is very important aspect. That is a very important aspect. Now, go easy on criticism. Expectations for self and others can be too high, setting people up to fail. Now what happens? There has to be a relationship between the potential and the goal that the individual has set up. Everybody's potential is different, interests are different, and the goal should be set as per taking into consideration the potential, the environment, and the interest of the individual. Many other factors are also there, but mainly there should be a match between the potential and the goal. Because if the goal is too difficult for that individual, then again performance will go down and it may destroy the body and mind. So we must know our own potentials and set the goals accordingly. Now, like share feelings, stay in touch with people. Friends can provide a sounding board, show support, and provide guidance. Now, it is very important or necessary because we all are social beings. We must share our feelings. Researchers have proved that isolation breaks the individual. So we must choose our friends carefully or our colleagues carefully with whom we can share. Now these factors are all known to you. We all know about these factors. It seems very easy, and but when it comes to practice, how many of us, ask yourself, how many of us do these things? Many times we do it, we share, and we share it with the wrong person, and as a result, it bounces back. So one must analyze, self-analysis, and then only you can share feelings. Then next, the various stressors, that is the various aspects which give rise to stress or which leads to stress. Now, psychologically speaking, there is a role of dispositions, that is temperament and frame of mind. Now, when I talk about the temperament and frame of mind, individual level of conflict is different, and goals and roles has its implications. So, depending on that, we have to decide what to do. Then there is individual level of conflict. Conflicts, basically why the conflicts arise. Because, understand it this way, we all have needs, requirements. Maybe it may be physical, it may be psychological. And needs will lead to the drive. That is the action that we will be performing on the basis of the need. And drive may or may not, the action may or may not make the individual reach the goal, because depending on the barrier. Now these barrier or these hurdles, it can be covert or overt in nature. That is, It can be an internal barrier, or it can be an external barrier. So we have to overcome the barrier and try and reach the barrier. Many a times when the barrier is not there, we reach the goal and we feel happy and easy. But many a times when the barrier is there, we find it difficult, we get flabbergasted, and we do not know what to do, how to tackle. But as a positive individual, we must expect certain barriers, and maybe how we take it. At times, like I say, more the barrier, more sure I become that I will definitely reach the goal, and I will do it perfectly. So one has to tell oneself, encourage oneself, motivate oneself that yes, barriers are coming. That means I will definitely reach the goal. But if we sit down and start crying and are not able to decide what to do, nothing good happens to me. If we think like that, then we will never be able to be a positive thinker. And these barriers, many a times, if we think negatively, it will lead to frustrations, anxiety, depression, and but we have to overcome this. We cannot live with this. So we have to overcome it. In order to overcome, again, the body has mechanisms which tries to do away with these barriers, and by using, as Freud said, defense mechanisms. That itself, again, is a different topic, so I will not go into it right now. Now, apart from role dispositions, we have the personality also, the individual's personality also acts as stressors or stimuli. There are basically two types of personality, type A and type B personality traits. Now, type A, they are always, you see the figure, they're always positive in thinking, they will talk, walk, eat rapidly, they're always in a hurry to do something, and they want to do multitasking, whether it is there in the potential in them or not. They do not want to have leisure time, or they measure success by quantity and not by quality. They are aggressive in nature and constantly under pressure. Whereas on the other hand, type B personality, they are concerned about time, they have the patience, does not brag, they try and understand the situation and then react, and they plays for fun and not to win. Why am I doing a work? Just because I love it. Not just because I have to win. And in between, they relax also, and the relaxation is without any guilt, and has no pressing deadlines. They will not set the deadlines. Of course, at times one has to set the deadlines, but then again, keeping the potential of the individual in mind. They are mild-mannered and never in a hurry. So obviously, by seeing these characteristic features, I have given common type A traits, that is, the individuals are impatient, achievement oriented, focus more on achievement than competitive, work obsessed, then aggressive, and these are people who are stressed, always under stress. Then characteristics of type B, as I have said, they are adaptable, even-tempered, tendency to procrastinate, which also is required at times. So we have to have a mix of the various characteristics. Usually type A traits are more prone to stress. Now, the next stressor is the personal control. Personal control is nothing but people's feelings about their ability to control the situation are important in determining their level of stress. That means, as human beings, even a child wants certain control. The control gives power to the individual. The individual thinks, yes, I can do this, I can do that, and feels happy when they know they can achieve so many things, they can do so many aspects. So that is personal control. If you can learn self-control, you can master anything. Second is learned helplessness. Now, learned helplessness, that means we tell ourselves that we are not capable of doing this or that or a particular work, and I'm helpless. Nobody is helping me. I get disturbed, perturbed, so on and so forth. So, due to the personality, and this happens due to the individual's personality, the environment, environmental changes, because environment is changing constantly, and then it also happens due to the globalization aspect. Today, before starting the session, there was a little net was not coming, so that was that could have led to learned helplessness. Learned helplessness, the photo that I liked was this elephant, you see, is feeling so helpless that he's sitting just by his side and probably does not know what to do with himself or herself. Then 3 C's of hardiness. Next is psychological hardiness. That is psychological hardiness. Here we have individual differences. Everywhere we have individual differences, but hardiness means we feel difficult to cope up with our life. So, but again, this differs from individual to individual. Basically, there are 2 kinds of people. One is disease prone, who are termed as mentally weak. Second one is the self-healing or mentally strong. So 3 C's of hardiness, that is control, commitment, and challenge. That is hardiness. Again, it will differ from individual to individual. Now, another factor is there is goal in life. All of us have goals, and because of these goals, we have conflict. That is differences of opinion. This difference of opinion could be within the individual and could be between the individuals and between the individual, environment, society, so on and so forth. Basically, there are this also acts as stressor. 4 types of stressors are there due to goals. First is called the approach conflict, where the individual has to choose between the 2 goals. That is, if somebody gets a job from the campus in 2 institutes, say for instance, Infosys and TCS, now the individual wants to join both, which one to join? There's a conflict. Then that individual has to decide accordingly. Then again, and he can take only one, he or she can take only one. Second is the approach avoidance goal conflict. That means here also there are 2 goals. Then, but one is a positive and one is negative. Approach avoidance, no, I'm sorry, slightly mistake is there. Approach avoidance will have only one goal, and one goal will have both positive aspects as well as negative aspects. Say for instance, if I've got a job only at Infosys, now then whether to take it up or not. Infosys, yes, the name is very good, but salary package is not very good. So should I take it or should I not take it? That is the second aspect. Third is avoidance. Here also there are 2 different goals. Conflict around 2 undesirable, and both are undesirable. Now we don't want. I don't want to take up engineering, and I don't want to take up medicine also, medical. I've got admission into medical as well as medical sciences, medical college, and I've got into engineering, IIT also, but I don't want to join either for medical or for engineering. Now, but I have to choose one. So again, I have no other option but to choose one, whether I like it or not. So again, there is a conflict within the individual. Now, double approach avoidance, or also referred to as multiple approach avoidance conflict, and this involves both approach and avoidance of two different goals simultaneously. That means each goal, there will be at least two goals, and each goal will have positive aspect as well as negative aspect, and we have to share, we have to decide what to do. So we have to decide, and that's again a difficult task, but we have to handle the situation accordingly. Now, after going, let us come to the students, which actually is my topic for the day, or topic of the day. Now, when I say causes of stress for students, here there are many causes again, and many causes, but normally causes for students could be hunger, learning disability, abuse, bullying, peer pressure, lack of sleep, health, relationship, mental health, teachers, parents, tests, homework, chronic chaos at home, physical threats, neglect, academic problems, exposure to violence, socialization, domestic violence. But we cannot go through all these. We have to take few, which are probably for, especially for engineering students residing in the campus or in the hostel. It's very relevant. First of all, living away from home. When the individual is living away, all these while the individual was being taken care of, did not shoulder any responsibility because parents were looking after them, his own group friends were there who were looking after them, and responsibility was less. But when the individual shifts from home to the hostel, then again there are problems, because the individual has to adjust with the present situation, present environment, which he or she finds it difficult. So environmental pressures are there, peer pressures are there, then academic demands will be there, it will boomerang on the health, then pressure of combining work and study will be there, defining and knowing the work, how to organize, how to go about, which is important, which is not important. This has to be decided. Then poor time management. Time management is a major factor. Stress and time management are inversely related. That means improper time management or utilization of time could lead to stress. Then leaving the assignment for the last minute. That also, if we do not do our daily activities, day-to-day activities, finish the work that day itself. Like say, for instance, classes have taken place, and at the end of the day, what were the classes, what were the general notes, mentally, if we can prepare ourselves, mentally, if we could remember what was taught in each class, that would prepare the individual for the examination without his or her knowledge. It gives the confidence to the individuals. That is one aspect. The other is the many a times the individuals take loans or debts. Now to overcome that, again, that gives rise to problem. Hostel sharing. That means rooms, usually it may not be single seated, and these days, of course, it's most of the places it does not have single seaters. So you have to adjust not only with a new environment, but also with the environment that exists in the hostel, that is your peer group. Many a times you feel like the student feels like sitting and doing the work on his or her own, but peer pressure is there, or maybe the roommates will say, no, let us go and do this. And then the individual is not able to decide what is to be done and what should not be done, how I should say no. Many difficulties arise, and difficulties arise in their relationships also. Then this could lead to sleep disruption, and many a times it could lead to loneliness. So all these factors, in a nutshell, I have said. Then examination deadlines are also there. If one does the day-to-day work, then that particular student will not have to study at the end of the semester when the exams are going on. So mental preparation is very necessary, is essential for the individuals in order to face the stress, accept the reality. And usually what happens is, stress usually results from the accumulation of many different pressures, which builds up gradually without noticing. Some of you may have noticed that when the problems come, it comes from all the corners of life. Everything comes together. It's not in isolation. So one has to accept that reality and move on and find a solution accordingly. And solution will be different for different individuals because individual differences exist. So one has to take that also into consideration. One has to take one's potential into consideration, and depending on the potential, goal, and the individual's own personality, one has to decide what is to be done, how we can overcome. In general, coming to managing stress. Managing stress, especially for students, can be individual management, social management, because we live in a society, physical management, psychological management, and interpersonal management. Stress management general techniques are therapy, spa, exercise, hobby, meditation, yoga, nature, and time management, which I have spoken about. Music interests are different. Now, individual management, I would say one has to grow from inside out. That means no one can teach you, no one can make you grow. There is no other teacher but your own self. That means focus on your own self. If you want to manage manage yourself, perform well, give good performance, then you are the best teacher, because no one knows you better than you yourself. If my stomach is paining and I'm standing and saying, people will think that nothing is happening to me and ma'am is just presenting, so she is absolutely fine, but I know my stomach is paining. So similarly, the other factors are also there. You feel hungry, thirsty, pain, so on and so forth. So you yourself are the best teacher, and you have to look after yourself. Nobody will look after you in this world. Everything you have to do. So one has to, especially as a student, one has to be self-dependent or individual-oriented, individualistic in thinking. Many times, it also depends on how you define. At times, I would say you will have to be selfish. Now, and selfish, I would say, is good if you can benefit from it. That would mean, what I mean to say, how do I define selfishness? Selfishness does not mean, according to me, to harm others. My intention is not to harm others, but my intention is to protect myself from stress or the environment which is damaging for me. So I'm selfish. The general meaning that is conveyed, selfish meaning, that is negative. It is always taken into negative aspect. But then if, according to me, it's a positive aspect, as long as you do not harm anybody. So one should be selfish. Always. That's nature. It is very natural. When probably, if you think mother mother, on one side of the mother in a swimming pool is her mother, and on one side is her daughter, and mother is a very good swimmer. Her mother is also a good swimmer. Maybe her daughter is also a good swimmer. But supposing if, yes, you want to ask something? Anybody? Okay. So instinct and both this particular lady's mother and daughter start, yes, both start drowning. Instinctively, whom will she save? Obviously the daughter, because daughter is her extension and she is an extension of mother. So that's the natural instinct. So we have to take the natural instinct into consideration, accept it and move on. Think positively. That means use positive self-talk. I would say, like me or hate me, both are in my favor. If you like me, I'm in your heart. And if you hate me, I'm in your mind. So either ways you're thinking about me. So how does it matter? It doesn't affect me at all. I'll carry on with my work and performance. Confront the problem, tackle the situation.
Ma'am, sorry for interruption.
Yeah.
Sorry for interruption, ma'am. We can't see the presentation.
Yeah, pardon me?
We are unable to see the presentation.
You're not able to see the presentation. The presentation is there. It's.
Let me see that. Stop sharing.
I just request others to just switch off their camera so that the presentation can be seen.
I think it's coming now. Is it coming?
ठीक है, आप इसे शेयर करता हूँ क्योंकि देखिए ये प्रेजेंट योर एंटायर स्क्रीन.
You're not clear.
एंटायर स्क्रीन नहीं, फिर शेयर. देखिए मैम, you are presenting your screen.
Stop presenting.
हाँ नहीं, so you are presenting everyone. ठीक है. तो ओके. तो ये शेयरिंग योर स्क्रीन, गूगल मीट इज शेयरिंग योर स्क्रीन, थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा. यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग एवरीवन. नेट स्लो हुआ है. बोल दीजिए कि मे बी नेट.
Maybe net is slow. There's a problem with the net. So we are trying to connect it.
Stop sharing. Present now.
No, ma'am, it's visible. Okay.
देखिए ना, ये चैट है. Participant is available. Okay, ma'am. Now visible. 1052 तो visible. ये 1052 है.
हाँ.
अब ये देखिए मैम, हम लोग present now कर रहे हैं. हाँ. Present now.
Please, it's a request to all.
There might be some network issues, ma'am. Please keep patience.
Yes. Are you able to hear me and see the presentation?
Others are requested not to click on the present now.
Present to everybody.
It is coming, ma'am.
Okay.
It's coming, ma'am.
Now, can I continue now?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we were at individual management, and I said you have to think positively. One has to, like as I said, I don't care who says what, as long as it does not affect me. Like me or hate me, I'm there in your mind, because if you hate me, I'm in your mind, and if you like me, I'm in your heart. So either ways, I'm with you. So this gives the confidence to the individual that he or she is doing the work, carrying on with good performance. Next is confront the problem, tackle the situation. Try to be like a river and don't look back, because past is past. Burn your past, learn from it, move ahead, flow ahead. Learn new skills, learn distractions, must have some changes in the lifestyle or work style so that one can continue effortlessly. Express yourself and also encourage feedback from others. All the time you may not get positive feedback, but even if you get negative feedback, analyze. If it may be genuine, it may not be genuine. Again, the self has to do the analysis. For the students, they have to find the resources within the campus. All the time, the students cannot get back to their parents or their neighbors or their relatives or their friends which were there, who were there with them earlier. Why? Because they will not understand the present environment that you are in. So you have to find your if not friends, acquaintances within the environment in which you are now. Next is take responsibility for mistakes. That is, accept your failures. One must learn to accept failures. There have been cases where the individual has been on the top right from day one till probably the age of, say, 40, 42. Whatever he or she does, touches, ends up with success. Suddenly, at the age of 42, the individual meets with first failure in his or her life, and he or she commits suicide. That means the person is not able to accept the reality, accept the failure. Failures are always there in life, and we have to learn from it, learn a lesson from it, move ahead. Another major factor as individuals, as students and as individuals, many individuals, we do not forgive ourselves. My mistake. Oh, how could I do it? How did I do this? I'm not such a fool who will do like this or work like this. Don't get angry at yourself, and don't blame yourself unnecessarily. Just think why it happened. Forgive yourself, because you are also a human being. You're part of the environment, and you also are bound to make a mistake. None of us are perfect in this world, and nobody is an all-knower. Accept that and move on. Fill the brain with high thoughts and the highest ideals. Place them day and night before you. Out of that will come a great work. That is, the great work comes only when you think about it constantly. Focus on what you as an individual student can control. Identify, I have mentioned this, identify your own potentials and limitations. Plus points also you should know, and minus points also. That will take you far. Improper time management increases stress. That is, inadequate utilization of time management gives rise to stress. Coming to the present scenario, that is today's environment, that is COVID situation. I think time is almost coming. So many things I did not say. Anyway, today's situation, it might be helpful to use a sheet of paper and draw a line down the middle. In one column, list things I can do. What I mean to say is maintain a diary. What are the things that I can do? What are my positive points? What are the things that I can't do? I have seen in the resource persons, we have people from media, talking about the media, how media impacts us, all that will be taken care of. But you have to focus on yourself and how you can accept the media, whether to believe fully in it, not fully in it, how much to believe. One has to decide about. Develop a self program. That means identify the list of activities, differentiate between what is important and what is urgent. There is a difference between important and urgent. Now, many times the individuals think, okay, this is important, this has to be done. But this is urgent, this also has to be done. Now, how do you differentiate? Why something has become so urgent that you have to do it just now? Leave everything and do. Because you have avoided it for a long period of time and it was important, you have not attended to it, and over a period of time, with the passage of time, it has become urgent and it gives rise to stress. Try and avoid that kind of situation. Then understand your own body constraints, body conditions. As I said initially, that we as individuals, we are part of the environment and we affect the environment, and at the same time, we get affected by the environment. If I keep a poker face and give this presentation, probably nobody would be interested. But then if I keep a smiling face and give the presentation and I'm open to your suggestions, your comments, then probably it will be liked more, and I will get, I'll derive happiness from that situation, and you also will derive happiness and mutually will be satisfied. So relaxation of the mind, not only body, but relaxation of the mind is also very necessary. How you do it, the other resource persons also will be taking about it. But that, keep in mind that that is also important, and that is the most important. While going for the interview or any other work, one has to be mentally prepared for that interview or that exam, whatever it may be. We have studied right from childhood till now for so many years. But in just 2 or 3 days or even 10 days, you cannot master the subject if you're going for the interview. So mental preparation is very important. What all you know, just mentally think about it, and that will give rise to self-confidence. That will boost up the confidence and performance would be better. Now, cognitive therapy, that is another aspect. Cognitive therapy, know your emotions. Cognitive means the higher mental processes. So you have to know your emotions and know how to release the pent-up emotions, hostile feelings, how to manage the hostile feelings. Then breathing exercises also will be there, meditation will be there, use systematic relaxation procedures. So all these are very important in maintaining the self. Now, interpersonal relationship also is a very important factor in order to do away the stress, do away with the stress. Relationships are important, but it is more important to have a life in them. That means there must be a life in your interpersonal relationships. Then next, I have given some techniques for learning to relax. Ma'am, can I continue for another 10 minutes? Yes,
Sure,
ma'am?
ma'am. Sure,
Okay.
ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Because time is almost up, but okay, fine. I've given techniques for learning to relax. How do we relax? We have body techniques, mind techniques, and spirit techniques. But I have simplified, I've written it, handwritten, I've put it up there. Sit quietly in a comfortable position. We have to, in order to relax, we have to have a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Why closing the eyes? So that we do not get affected by the external environment. Deeply relax all the muscles beginning at feet and progressing up to your face. That means from down to top, all the muscles have to be relaxed. Do not breathe through your mouth. Breathing has to be done through the nose only, and follow your breathing process entire. How the air is taken in, goes in, how you inhale it, and how you exhale it. That you must know. And breathe very comfortably, easily, and normally. Don't think about anything while breathing. Concentrate on your breath. Follow your breath. Continue for 10 or 20 minutes. You may open your eyes to check time, but do not use an alarm. After finishing, sit quietly for a few minutes at first with your eyes closed and later with the eyes open. Why? Because transition takes little time from the dissociating yourself from the external environment and coming to the external environment, coming in contact with the external. So you have to close your eyes initially and then open it slowly. Do not worry about the results of the relaxation. That means while relaxing, do not think whether this will work. I'm exercising, whether this will give good results or not. What will happen, what will not happen. Just forget it and leave the whole thing. Don't think about. That means do the work, forget about the result. Result is bound to come. Sooner or later it will come. So, and with this, probably I'm coming almost to the end of the session. Maybe a little, some more slides are there, which I would like to share with you. To be fit and find healthy lifelong. Continuously living in the hormones of stress, fear, and anxiety will just invite more disease. That means you will become disease-prone individual. So you have to come. Then again, foods also. Food has a lot of impact on the individual's physical self, mental self, as well as emotional. So that also plays a role. It will be taken up by another resource person. Then focus on holistic wellness. That means focus should always be on the whole, the entirety. As I said, we are a part of the cosmos and we try to relate ourselves with the cosmos as a whole. So everything has to be holistic in nature. Avoid stress, do pranayam, take proper rest, practice gratitude and love. See, when we do something good for somebody, I think we always feel happy. We feel so satisfied. Now, satisfaction is one thing. All of us, if we introspect, why do we feel happy or why do we feel sad? Maybe it is in our nature to be happy if we do something good, and in our nature to be unhappy when it does not agree with our conscience. So again, you have to think about your conscience and act accordingly, decide accordingly. Then Unhealthy food should be avoided. Of course, these days in COVID situation, we are learning so many different aspects. Don't think about COVID all the time. It will be there, part of the environment. It will be there, accept it and move ahead. There are times when there is awareness, but acceptance is not there. So there has to be awareness, not only awareness, but also the acceptance. Now, there are certain things which at the present time has to be avoided, like handshakes, going to crowded places, to the extent possible, avoid going out, avoid public transport, keep social distancing, otherwise one may land up in problem. Then don't be in a panicky situation. So these are the certain things, and I'm sure all of you know this. This is nothing new for you, but you must adhere to it. You must not only be aware of it, but accept it and act accordingly. So then again, food. There are experts who will be talking about food, but then in Bengal we have panta bhat, and it has its own benefit. Even when as a child, we used to have panta bhat during summers because it keeps the stomach cool. So one has to think accordingly and decide accordingly. Then drumsticks also has its own benefits. Very high on immunity boosting properties, excellent for diabetes, incredible source of essential minerals, very high on antibacterial qualities. Fruits, again, one has to have fruits, but it's good to have seasonal fruits. Fruits have to be had on an empty stomach. An ideal way to start your day after jeera water is having seasonal fruits. But it has its own benefits, and the correct way of eating fruits, it means not eating fruits after your meals. Fruits should be eaten only on an empty stomach. There's a misnomer that after food one should consume fruits. Then jeera pani. Jeera has its own benefit. We are all Indians and we know what is jeera. So jeera pani is very good. Then yoga, pranayam, one has to do that. Then intermittent fasting. In our system, again, fasting is there, and timely, if the body needs that also, requires that also, fasting, because it helps the body to not only to the organs of the body, not only to take rest, but again recoup or re-energize itself. So one should do that. All kinds of addictions, including the technology addictions, is bad. So have seeds regularly. This also is very important. I'm sure it will be covered by other resource people. Then sleep is one of the most important aspects in life. Have sound, good sleep. Sleep increases immunity. Meditation, of course, I have already said, and share all these as much as you can. Right, and one more.
Hi.
Please listen.
Seventh sense. Does it sound any bells? No, I'm not talking about something beyond the sixth sense. The seventh sense is just a catchy phrase for me to introduce a very interesting and powerful exercise that you can do in just 7 minutes, and hence the connection to seventh sense. In just 7 minutes, any time of the day, whenever you choose, morning, evening, any place, sitting, standing, or when you're actually traveling in a bus or in a plane or whatever, or when you're watching TV. This exercise can be easily deployed for literally several benefits, right from the top of the head to the tip, as they say at the toe. A lot of benefits that you have in doing these exercises. Just scroll below this video to look at the description of the video to see the benefits of each of the steps that I'm going to teach you. There are quite a lot, right from organs to blood circulation to mood enhancement, to instant energy, to digestion, to prevention of several ailments. There are quite a lot of benefits. For doing this, all we need is just a place to sit and just 2 hands, that's all. Apparently, the points in the hands are connected to all the organs and bones and whatever that actually make us healthy in our body. That's what we are going to use to ensure that we remain healthy. And at just 7 minutes a day, you can do it before food, after food, whenever you have time in between. Let's look at each of the movement quickly and then learn how to do it. Some of these you may have to do it 30 seconds with one hand and 30 seconds with another hand to arrive at 1 minute, but it constitutes one movement. Let us look at the first movement that we are going to see. Once we are through with that, we go to the second movement of that. The first movement is like this. Take your left hand. You have to hit as forcibly as you can without hurting yourself. Like this, punch your hand for say about 30 seconds, and then change to the right hand to the left hand, punch like this for 30 seconds. That completes movement 1. If you have done it for a minute, do a mental count. Now we're going to look at the second movement. Take your left hand like this and then like this for 30 seconds. Swap hands. Now take the right hand and with the left hand, keep slapping your wrist like this. Okay. Second movement is over. Now let's go to the third movement. This is something that we have done quite often, or we like to receive it whenever we have done some good work, clapping. But when you clap, ensure that all these points meet. A lot of yogic energy that are hidden behind this, which gets released like this. One minute over, 3 movements. Now the fourth movement, just lock your hand like this and then rub the fingers hard in between. It generates a lot of heat and you will see tremendous amount of energy flow throughout your body. Count yourself to a minute and then stop, relax a bit. Now 4 movements are over. Now we are going to move to the 5th movement. Take your hands like this. Either you can rub or better, exactly like this. Hit the edge of the palm on either side like this for a minute. With that, we complete the 5th movement. Now we go to the 6th movement, which is take this portion of the hand, this portion of the hand, and then you're going to hit them against each other as forcibly as you can, but be sure that your body is able to adjust the speed and the force with which you're able to do. 6 movements are over. The last movement, it's take your wrist like this, cup it, and then just rotate with the fingers like this. 30 seconds. Now take the left hand to the right hand. 30 seconds. Okay, this is over. 7 minutes. That's all it takes for you to be healthy. Now let me just give you a recap. Right from the first movement onwards to the last moment, so that you are quite clear in terms of how the entire build-up is done. Okay. First movement, second movement, third movement, fourth movement, fifth movement, sixth movement, seventh movement. You will feel as if you have done almost half an hour to 45 minutes of a brisk exercise, and surprisingly, with just this movement, you literally exercise every portion of the body. You can continue to do all other exercises, breathing or walking or yoga or whatever you are comfortable, you are already doing. Just add this to your existing routine. In just 7 minutes, of course, you can do it as many times as you want in a day, whenever you have the free time to do it. You will find that within a few days or a week or 2 weeks, you'll find tremendous amount of health changes, right from digestion to coming down of hypertension and feeling a positive energy. Go ahead, improve your health quotient and stay healthy. These are the times whether you stay inside the house during the lockdown period or after the lockdown period you go, Wherever you are, whenever you are, you can carry this exercise with you. Just simple 7 moments and 7 minutes. You'll be healthy. Stay home, stay fit, stay healthy.
The idea of presenting this small video to you is it has been practiced by the doctors at Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital, Pune, where there are many COVID patients day in, day out. They keep coming, and all the 600 doctors who are practicing there, none of them, not even one single doctor, has been affected by corona. So I thought it is very important and beneficial, and that is why I shared this video with you. Before I end my session would be incomplete if I do not thank the stimulus who have helped me, who is the organism, to bring out this response. That is the presentation. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Almighty who made me stress-free in order to come up with this presentation. Secondly, I thank Dr. Suchismita Bhattacharya for introducing me to the coordinator of the program. Thirdly, I take this opportunity to thank the coordinator of the program, Mrs. Aradhana Mishra, for inviting me to deliver the lecture as a resource person. I would be failing in my duty if I do not thank my colleague, Dr. Madhusudan Mishra, without whose immense help and support this session would not have seen the light of the day. Last but not the least, I wholeheartedly thank the NERIST, or the Institute's ET cell employees, Mr. Saji Kumar and his entire team members for extending the facilities of the cell, without which I could not have been able to interact with you technically. Thank you, all of you as audiences, my friends, for giving me a patient hearing. Session is open for the question answer sessions. If there are any questions, you are please welcome.
Ma'am, there is a question from Dr. Vijay Pahate.
Right.
It is advisable not to be multitasking in today's competitive world.
It is advisable not to be multitasking, because concentration moves from one to the other, and you cannot have equal concentration. Any individual or no individual can concentrate equally well for all the, even for 2 tasks, leave alone more than 2 tasks. So that
okay,
is,
ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, then there is another question from Sanjay K. Sharma. Which
Right.
book should we follow to understand the concept of stress management? Like, is there any book?
Yeah, book, there are many books, and these days you get articles on Google also. But as I said, you have to do introspection, and you are your best teacher, because your frame of mind only you can know, your body you can know. Yes, of course, guidance you can take, the books. There are medical, see, stress has been defined differently by different scientists. Say, for instance, physicists define it differently, medical sciences define it differently, psychology defines it differently, sociology defines it differently, anthropology. So depending on your interest, you can choose a book basically to do away with the stress. If you are focusing on exercises, maybe meditation, books on meditation. Again, if you ask me by personal feeling, I am greatly impressed by Swami Vivekananda, and if you can read his books on education and society, and many books he has written. So that gives, at least that gives me or makes me stress-free to a large extent. But same may not be true for anybody else also. Choose an area of your interest and then select a book, good book in it.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There is another question, ma'am, from Rashmita Mishra. If someone is crazy for performance and to achieve target, like very competitive, then which category of stress is this? Positive or negative? Like she's asking about.
It is positive only, because one, we have to have stress, as I said, and to a certain extent, stress is necessary in order to give performance. So it is positive, but again positive. But anything, any coin has two sides. One should not exceed one's potential. That you have to keep in mind. That is the reason I started my talk with saying that know yourself. You are your best. Know yourself. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. There is another question. Shubhashri Priyadarshini, ma'am, she's asking you to suggest some book on Swami Vivekananda.
Oh, his book, there's a book on education by Swami Vivekananda, written by him only. And if you want to go deeper into spirituality, there is Karma Yoga, there is Jnana Yoga, there is Bhakti Yoga, all written by Swami Vivekananda. His own books. I am not asking that somebody has done the translation. No, he's written books in English also.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, this much only we have in the chat box, ma'am, the questions. Ma'am, thank you so much for such an informative and effective session. It's always a pleasure to listen to you, ma'am. I have heard you so many times, but hearing you after a long time, it's really a pleasure to have such an informative and actually, ma'am, in our life we really miss lot of things. Like we know things, but hardly 50% of the people they actually miss the thing in being busy in their daily life, and 50% they actually don't know many things. So hopefully this will be a triggering thing for each and everyone.
Hopefully. No, many of us know many things, but we are aware, but we are not accepting it.
Yes, ma'am.
Awareness and acceptance both has to be there in order to grow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I think so. We have. Please, if someone is having any question, please switch on your mic.
Yeah, hello. Hello, ma'am. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, your presentation was absolutely phenomenal. So, ma'am, would you please share your entire PPT with us?
Entire paper? Yeah, definitely, I'll share.
Yeah, thank you.
Definitely,
thank you.
I will do that.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar.
This is Sanjay from Gautam Buddha University.
Right, okay.
In your lecture, you said about body, mind, and spirit.
Okay.
There were three things. Now, how do we coordinate them, and how do we really understand them? How they are different from each other? Is it a continuous process, or is it a discrete process? That's my question.
You are talking about body, mind, and?
Spirit.
Spirit, okay, fine. Okay, now, if you do introspection, you will notice that you start developing a tendency to know yourself. Your body tells you what you should eat, what you should do, like your body tells you you're hungry, you're thirsty. Similarly, your body gives you directions for everything. And when you are interacting or listening to your body, you are connecting yourself with the universe. As I said initially in the beginning, that right from atom to atom, molecule, tissue, then how it gets connected to the entire universe. So we have to have a beginning. So we already have come up to the organism stage, and then again you have to grow from there or proceed from there by introspecting yourself, talking to yourself, trying to understand your bodily needs. When you try to understand your bodily needs, again it will give rise to cognitive needs. Cognitive needs again will take you to will uplift you spiritually. So these are all connected. It is not in isolation, and believe me, it makes you feel good. Again, depends on the interest.
Madam, that 7 minutes link, 7 minutes video link, can you share, madam? That exercise.
Yeah, you want me to share the link of 7 minutes?
Yeah.
I'll WhatsApp to the coordinator and all the documents, in the entire documents. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Okay.
Is there any more question from the audience? No, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, welcome. All right, thank you.
Yes,
so
thank you, ma'am.
I stop.